Seretta Construction was founded in 1987 by Richard McPherson, PE, and specializes in tilt wall construction. Since the founding of the company, Seretta Construction has grown into one of the industry's leading commercial concrete contractors, completing construction projects throughout most of the United States. You, as the employee, are our greatest asset. The main goal of Seretta Construction is to ensure that every Seretta employee returns home from work happy and healthy every day. The personal safety of every Seretta employee is a primary goal of the company. As you work on the job site, you will find that many workplace hazards may arise during day-to-day activities. It is the right of every employee to be provided with a safe and healthy work environment. Our mission is to mitigate and/or eliminate all workplace hazards that pose risk to our employees. It's the responsibility of all employees to report workplace injuries and/or incidents and accidents to their supervisor immediately, regardless of severity. Failure to do so could result in denial of the claim and/or disciplinary action, up to and including termination. The Occupational Safety and Health Administration, OSHA, is a branch of the federal government under the Department of Labor that develops and enforces health and safety standards for workers. These standards afford certain rights to workers while at the same time requiring you to follow certain safety rules. Please be sure that gasoline is properly marked gasoline and put in the correct red fuel can. Diesel shall be put in the yellow fuel can and marked diesel. All fuel cans need to have the appropriate flame arrestor screen inside the spout of the canister. Spray canisters located on site must be labeled with the correct chemical agent being dispensed. If canisters are being used for other purposes, the appropriate label relating to the contents inside must be present. There will be times when additional chemicals are needed on your job site. Some of these chemicals can pose health hazards to you. In addition to the manufacturer's label, Seretta supplies the job site with all the required SDS sheets for corresponding chemicals. SDS sheets can be located inside our job site trailer. It is the responsibility of all Seretta supervisors to make sure that when seen or notified, all workplace hazards are mitigated or eliminated. All Seretta employees have the right to report any unsafe behaviors or conditions to their supervisor or any other member of Seretta management. Seretta Construction believes in a safe and drug-free work environment. Along with your pre-employment drug screen, Seretta Construction conducts additional drug screens for reasonable suspicion, random, and accident and incident related. Positive specimens can lead to disciplinary policies, including termination of employment from the company. All Seretta Construction supervisors are properly trained in first aid and CPR. First aid kits can be located inside the job site trailer. All job sites shall be provided clean drinking water and disposable cups daily. All drinking water shall be properly labeled and sealed from contamination. Housekeeping is an important way to maintain a clean and safe job site on a daily basis. All job sites shall maintain an appropriate degree of housekeeping at all times. Failure to maintain housekeeping could result in serious injury to all employees on the job. A lot of our work deals with carpentry, thus the use of nails and wood are constant. When stripping wooden forms, make sure to remove all protruding nails and dispose of them properly. Never leave a board with nails in it. All Seretta Construction employees are required to wear personal protective equipment at all times during their work shift. This equipment includes hard hat, vest, and safety glasses. Work activities that require the use of additional PPE shall be worn during these activities. PPE will be provided by the company and is expected to be worn all day, every day while on the job site. Orange vests are given to all tradespeople in the field, such as carpenters, laborers, and concrete finishers. Green vests will be worn by all management within the company, such as superintendents, project managers, concrete foremen, patch and rub foremen, and safety directors. All employees are required to wear hard hats meeting ANSI Z89.1 requirements for head protection. There are many hazards pertaining to falling object hazards in our industry. Thus, head protection is needed at all times during the workday. Only Seretta-provided hard hats shall be worn. Seretta will provide all employees with safety glasses, which shall be worn at all times during the work shift. Safety glasses must meet ANSI Z87.1 requirements to be deemed feasible on the job site. Clear glasses are to be worn during the night or when weather conditions make gray shaded lenses unusable. There are times when job activities pose additional hazards that require task-specific PPE. When these instances arise, make sure you have the correct PPE to ensure the activity is done safely. Please be sure to wear your logoed PPE on the job site at all times. Other than PPE, all employees are required to wear the proper attire for work every day. Jeans or work pants, shirts with at least 4-inch sleeves, and work boots are required on the job site every day. No employee is permitted to wear shorts or to work without a shirt on ever. This dress code is here to protect you. Hand and power tools are crucial to accomplish our projects and are used on a day-to-day basis. All tools should be maintained in good working condition. Remember these few tips for safe use while using hand and power tools. Inspect all tools prior to use. Before inspecting the tools, always ensure that the power tool is unplugged and is not live with electricity. All defective or damaged tools shall be tagged and taken out of service immediately. No tagged out tool shall be put back into use until it is properly repaired and deemed safe by the appropriate staff. All cutting operations shall take place on top of sawhorses and material will be secured against movement. Never use foot or any other body part as a platform for cutting operations. Any employees found using improper methods relating to hand and power tools will face disciplinary actions. All power tools shall be inspected for electrical damage on a daily basis. Be sure to note any cord and prong damage and to remove the power tool or extension cord from service if defects are present. A construction site can be a very dangerous place. Being aware of your surroundings at all times will improve your personal safety tremendously. We will not be the only trade working on site at all times. Different trades working pose hazards that we may be unfamiliar with. Also, please be respectful of other companies' work areas as we expect other trades to be respectful of ours. At times, there will be many pieces of equipment on site, ranging from power buggies to crawler cranes. Please be mindful of the power of each piece of equipment as you are walking on site. Heavy machinery is important to get the job done, but also creates many construction hazards. Be aware of machinery on your job at all times. Personal cell phone use on the job is prohibited. We understand that emergencies in our personal lives do arise. Thus, please notify your supervisor if there is a need for cell phone use during your work shift. No use of music headphones while working at any time. You need to be able to hear all of the sounds on the job site. Using music headphones while on the job site can cause a hazard to you and those around you. Trenching activities are present on most of our projects and pose severe hazards to our employees. Pouring concrete is a major part of what we do here at Seretta Construction. There are many hazards associated with the use of and working with concrete. Please be aware and take any and all precautions at all times when involved in concrete operations. During a concrete pour, there will be numerous concrete trucks traveling to and from the job site in succession. Be aware of the ongoing traffic on your job site at all times. All third-party concrete trucks should be equipped with proper lighting, mirrors, and backup alarms. If you notice any defects, please do not hesitate to notify your supervisor. Concrete can cause many bodily injuries that are easily preventable with the use of the proper task-specific PPE. Please ensure the use of safety glasses while working with concrete at all times. If additional PPE is needed, such as rubber boots or a concrete apron, please notify your supervisor to ensure proper protection. Also, always be sure to wash off skin after coming in contact with wet concrete. Chemicals within the concrete will burn you if you do not immediately wash off your skin. Another method Seretta Construction uses to place concrete is by utilizing the use of a concrete pump to reach the far areas that are difficult to move concrete trucks into. Concrete pumps, though a very useful tool, also have various hazards associated with them. There are many hazards that can be present on the job site when there is a pump truck. Always be aware of the different hazards, such as improper setup of outriggers and uneven ground, missing hopper grate, loose pump hose, and pressure within the pump that can forcibly eject concrete out. Always be aware of where the pump truck's boom is on the job site at all times. Never walk directly underneath pump truck boom for any reason. Pump truck hoses can pose hazards as well. Ensure that the pump hose is secure at all times, is not building up pressure, and it is in good working condition. Any defects shall be brought to the attention of the pump truck operator on site immediately. Probably one of the most important machines we use here at Seretta Construction is the laser screed. Used for our various sized slab-on-grade pours, this machine has hazards that every employee needs to be mindful of. While working with and around the laser screed during a slab pour, there are many pinch point or caught in between hazards that the laser screed creates. Be sure to never walk behind or under the screed body and the auger, or enter any areas that can cause you to be crushed in between parts of the screed. Screed operators have been designated and properly trained by the company on the safe and proper operation of the laser screed. If there is any reason to believe that the screed is not being operated in a safe manner, please notify your supervisor. After the concrete is placed, we use trowels to put the desired finish on top of our work. Along with hand trowels, Seretta Construction has many riding and walk-behind trowels in our equipment fleet. Please be mindful of the safe operation of both walk-behind and riding trowel while in use. Always ensure a firm grip while using a walk-behind trowel. Failure to do so can result in losing control of the machine, resulting in the trowel whipping around and striking you. Always inspect trowels prior to use to note any defects. Any and all trowels with defects shall be tagged and removed from service until properly repaired by the appropriate personnel. Never disengage emergency stop or cutoff on any piece of trowel equipment, and always keep the emergency cutoff clipped to yourself. Disciplinary action will result from not doing so. Always inspect your riding trowel prior to use. Please note any defective trowels and remove them from service until properly repaired by appropriate personnel. Never give fellow employees rides on the rider trowel. Failure to comply with safe operation will result in disciplinary action. Again, never disengage the emergency stop or cutoff on these pieces of equipment. After concrete is placed, finished, but before it has had time to cure, green concrete cuts are put into the concrete. The early entry method significantly reduces the amount of dust produced during the cutting process. These types of saws can only be used to cut green concrete. All employees cutting concrete shall wear earplugs to protect from hearing loss due to the loud noise during the operation of the saw, and a dust mask to eliminate all possible threats of a respiratory hazard to the employee while cutting cured concrete. Reinforcing steel, also known as rebar, is a very common material on the job site. Proper handling and protection when dealing with rebar will make for a hazard-free work environment. Rebar caps are important to protect employees from impalement hazards. All protruding rebar on the job site shall be properly capped at all times when impalement hazards are present. Rebar caps will be supplied and can be found inside of your job site trailer. There are times on the job when you will need to alter rebar due to measurement or design. When cutting rebar, take all the necessary precautions. Chop saws are a useful yet dangerous tool if not used properly. Be sure to use chop saws according to the manufacturer's guidelines and with the correct blade. Do not operate a chop saw to cut rebar unless you have the proper PPE. A face shield is required when operating a chop saw. Face shields will be supplied and stored inside your job site trailer. Compressed gas cylinders shall be properly carted and chained with regulators removed when not in use. Only authorized personnel that are properly trained are permitted to use compressed gas. Cranes are a necessary piece of machinery in Seretta's line of work, and you will see them on your job site from time to time. Though very useful, these machines can be very dangerous. Please remember and exercise these precautions when cranes are on your project. A controlled access zone shall be put up to make all employees on site aware of the path of travel for the crane. No unauthorized employee is to enter the access zone for any reason. An access zone shall be maintained at all times while the crane is on site. Also, every crane shall be marked with a swing radius. This signifies the areas in which a crane can pose a struck by or pinch point hazard to employees. Never for any reason enter this zone while the crane is in operation. always be mindful of your surroundings when working in or near a controlled access zone. All crane operators must have a copy of their Certified Crane Operator (CCO) identification card on them while tilt wall panels are being erected. All rigging equipment shall be tagged and properly inspected prior to lifting panels. Documentation of certifications shall be submitted before rigging is to lift panels. Panel erection is an important time for us on a project. It is one of the biggest processes we undergo on a project, and the most hazardous. There are many things to keep in mind when panels are being erected to ensure your own personal safety. The erection crew is a subcontractor we hire to erect panels. You will see these employees on your project. When panels are being erected and set, the erection crew is to be the only personnel in the immediate working area. All other employees are to adhere to the 100-foot rule while panels are being erected and set. All erection crews shall have a qualified signalman and rigger in their crew. These employees are properly trained and designated to carry out specific jobs. The qualified signalman is to be the only employee on site giving instruction to the crane operator. The 100-foot rule is for all employees to stay back 100 feet in any direction from the panel being erected. A falling panel is a very serious and highly dangerous situation. Not only does this present a deathly crushing hazard to the employee directly under the panel, but also struck-by hazards to all of the other employees in the surrounding work area. A falling panel can cause loose debris such as nails and rocks to fire out at employees as the panel comes to the ground at the speed of a bullet. Please be aware that all Seretta construction employees must adhere to the 100-foot rule to avoid being a victim of indirect hazards due to a panel falling. All floor openings 2 inches or bigger created during our course of work shall be covered properly to ensure that the site poses no slip, trip, or fall hazards. Floor openings need to be covered and secured with material that can support at least twice the weight of employees, equipment, and material that may be imposed at any one time. All covers shall be marked with paint and labeled "Whole." Access on your project is very important to get to and from your work area in a safe manner. Please ensure and maintain the condition of each access point on your job site. You are responsible to notify your supervisor if there are limited means to access your work. Please park in the designated parking areas on your job. The company will not be responsible for any damages that occur to your personal vehicle as a result of parking in the improper areas. There are many times on the job when you will be required to work at different elevations. Doing so poses the risk of falling, thus each employee working in these situations are required to utilize fall protection. Personal Fall Arrest System, PFAS, is a means or setup of equipment to protect employees from fall hazards. Seretta Construction ensures that all employees that must use fall protection will be properly trained on all facets of donning a PFAS. All employees exposed to a fall at 6 feet or greater shall use a PFAS. Any employee that fails to properly use or does not comply with the 6-foot rule shall be the subject of disciplinary action. A pre-inspection of your work area shall be done to determine the needs for the use of a PFAS. If you at any time feel the need to use fall protection to protect yourself while you work, please make your supervisor aware of the situation. Guardrails used on the job site shall always comply with the OSHA requirements for height and weight capacities. Please ensure when constructed that all guardrails are compliant. Guardrails have to be OSHA compliant when set up, which means the top rail has to be at a height of 42 inches plus or minus 3 inches, with the mid-rail at a height of 21 inches. All guardrail systems shall be able to withstand 200 pounds of force to properly protect employees from falls. There are times when working on an elevated floor is necessary to complete a project. Always make sure your work area is safe to access before any work is performed. All aerial work platforms are equipped with what is known as a 45-degree angle piece, which is designed as anchorage for employees to tie their personal fall arrest system to while operating the lift. Make sure to always tie off to this piece. No employee is to tie their PFAS off to the basket or any other part of the lift for any reason. If there is a problem with the lift, notify your supervisor immediately. Aerial work platforms shall not be operated by any employee unless they are trained by Seretta. While performing the operation of grinding concrete, there are many hazards, but none as big as the byproduct of silica dust. Silica is a dust generated during grinding, cutting, or sanding of concrete and can cause many respiratory illnesses. Always take the proper precautions before working around silica. All employees performing work that may produce ample amounts of concrete dust or silica must always use the proper respiratory protection and go through Seretta's respiratory training program prior to performing such work. Please consult or contact your supervisor or safety director so they can properly fit you with the correct respiratory protection and provide the appropriate respiratory training. All employees that are required to wear a respirator for their work activities shall undergo a medical screening and respirator fit test before work can commence. This is for the safety of the employee and to ensure that the respirator provides adequate protection. Brace removal is a work process that happens on almost every Seretta construction project. Safe work practices shall be followed at all points of brace removal from the time it is detached from the existing panel to when it is stacked and ready for delivery. Please ensure you always pay attention and listen to your supervisor regarding brace removal. All Seretta construction employees that are to operate equipment for company business must first undergo the proper training and evaluation to determine that they are properly able to operate the said equipment and can do so in a safe manner. No employee is to ride on a piece of equipment when not sitting in a designated seat with a seatbelt on it. Never ride on a piece of equipment for any reason at any time. The equipment that employees are trained on are rough terrain forklifts, backhoes, scissor and boom lifts, laser screed, motor grader. All machinery shall not be operated unless you have been trained and authorized by Seretta Construction. Please keep your certification card with you at all times. Your job site will have all types of material that you'll be working with. Some of this material is considered combustible if it reaches the right temperature or comes in contact with fire. Please be aware of what material is easily combustible and plan accordingly. Fire extinguishers shall be located within 100 feet of combustible fuel sources. Each job site trailer will contain 2 ABC fire extinguishers. One is always in trailer and another one is available in a conspicuous location within 100 feet of the work area. All heavy machinery on site shall be equipped with a working fire extinguisher on board. If there is not a fire extinguisher on any piece of heavy machinery, please notify your supervisor immediately. Emergency response information regarding both the nearest urgent care clinic and hospital to your job site will always be located inside your project trailer. If the information is not present or unreadable, please notify your supervisor immediately. All injuries and incidents shall be reported to your supervisor immediately, regardless of severity. Heat can pose a serious hazard while working if not prepared for it properly. The following are heat-related issues that can occur if heat is not properly managed: heat stress, heat stroke, heat cramps, sunburn, lack of hydration. Remember to keep in mind, not only Seretta Construction Company policies, but also any job site policies put in place by the general contractor or project owner. All policies shall be adhered to at all times. Failure to adhere to all policies required by Seretta or any others will result in disciplinary action. No outside persons shall be on this site at any time. Your work environment is a busy and highly hazardous place. No visitors will be allowed at any time. If there is any need to review any of Seretta Construction's policies or procedures, please refer back to the Employee Handbook, the Company Safety Manual, any other applicable Seretta Construction program, or contact your supervisor for further assistance. If there are any questions or concerns regarding any of the information that was covered in this instructional video, please do not hesitate to contact your supervisor. This introductory video is not intended to cover every item in the safety manual or the other company training programs. This introductory video is intended to introduce you to some of the company policies and some of the most frequent risks you will encounter. The company safety manual and other training programs should be used as a reference as well. Again, we would like to welcome you to Seretta Construction, the leader in tilt wall construction and your employer of choice.